The EU has been slow off the mark in its vaccination drive, and new infection numbers are still stubbornly high in many countries. This map here gives an overview of the infections per 100,000 inhabitants over 7 days. In yellow are countries with fewer than 50, like Finland. The darker the orange, the higher the infection rate. Germany currently has an incidence rate of 61. Sweden and the Czech Republic more than 200. We take a look at the challenges the bloc faces. Here's our Brussels correspondent, Max Zander.
Vaccines, variants, and freedom of movement. About a year into the pandemic, the bloc is struggling to keep up with recent developments, as EU Council President Charles Michel made clear in his invitation letter to this two-day leaders' conference. It remains challenging due to the emergence of new variants and the need to strike the right balance between restrictions and the smooth flow of goods and services in the single market. The bloc has failed to coordinate its anti-coronavirus measures, with traffic piling up at some of its internal borders, like here between Germany and the Czech Republic.
For us,
it is essential to make sure, keeping the safety of our citizens in mind, that the variants of the virus do not make it to Germany. With member states acting on their own, Brussels has reacted with a slap on the wrist.
The Commission sent specific letters raising our concerns to 6 member states, which are Belgium, Denmark, Finland, Germany, Hungary and Sweden, who are currently applying stricter measures than what is provided for in the recommendation, in particular bans on entering or leaving the country.
While targeted restrictive measures on non-essential travel are necessary in the eyes of the EU Commission, blanket bans like those applied here in Belgium do not serve this purpose.
The virus taught us that closing borders does not stop it, but we see the disruptions.
With spring on its way, another fight among European leaders is waiting to break out. Greece, in an attempt to save its holiday season, had suggested an EU-wide vaccination certificate. Other member states like Denmark and Sweden have already begun developing their own passports, with the bloc as a whole risking fragmentation on the matter. But the biggest challenge of all is the rather slow rollout of the EU-wide vaccination program. Production shortfalls and other stumbling blocks have left the EU trailing behind countries like the United Kingdom and led to growing impatience among its leaders. The European Commission should exploit the economic power of the EU to put pressure on these huge corporations. From ramping up vaccine production to closer coordination, a lot is on the table.
And we are now joined by Manfred Weber. He's the leader of the Conservative European People's Party grouping in the European Parliament. Mr. Weber, the speed of the vaccine rollout in the EU is still painfully slow, 2 months in. Other non-EU countries in the neighbourhood, notably the post-Brexit UK and Serbia, are doing far better. How could the EU fail so badly?
Well, we don't practice national egoism, because when you compare our procedure with the Americans have US first, still this policy. No vaccination produced in US is leaving the US. Even Canada is getting vaccination from Europe. So we are ready to help others do not so. That's why we should stick to our approach about liability to the big pharmaceutical companies. All of the questions that we trust in our EMA, no fast approval of the vaccines in Europe, so fair and proper assessment. That are our rules, and that is bringing also a little bit of delay. So I think we should stick to these principal decisions. But in the next upcoming weeks, the key question is the rollout, because production will increase, and then the member states must be prepared for this rollout.
You call it a little bit of a delay when the United Kingdom, for example, has nearly given vaccine to nearly a third of its population. I should think we couldn't take it this lightly, can we?
Well, there are several arguments. First of all, we didn't do a fast-track approval.
Why not? Why not do a fast-track approval when the UK can do a fast-track approval?
Because we have another approach. We say security first. The liability is fully in the hand of the British state. In our case, in the European case, Also Pfizer and also AstraZeneca has a liability. And that is what we insist in. That's why we were a little bit late. But I think we have a lot of people who still not trust in vaccines and still not trust in vaccination. That's why we have to convince all of them. That's why I stick to our approach that we fully do a safe and a secure approach on this. And a second argument is that in Great Britain, they didn't do the second shot for a lot of people who are vaccinated. And that is from our experts, what are they telling us? Still even difficult and challenging and even dangerous, having the mutants in mind. So we stick to what the EMA and our experts are telling us. I think that is a better way. But I don't want to start in this debate. I think we have to guarantee now on G7 level that we respect the free movement of products in our Western world. That is what we have to do now. So we need immediately another G7 meeting where America, Great Britain, AstraZeneca, Pfizer, everybody is ready to keep borders open. That is the precondition for a fair distribution of the vaccines.
But the EU also blames the vaccine manufacturers for not delivering enough. But is this slow rollout not also due to late ordering and bureaucracy in the EU?
But you know that, especially the AstraZeneca contract, we did it first. Great Britain was after us. They did it 2 days later. So there is no debate about who was first, who was second. We have a contract and we simply insist in please fulfill the contract. And it's also about the credibility of the pharmaceutical companies. They shouldn't underestimate the general perception among citizens.
But could you not put more pressure then on the pharmaceutical companies?
Pardon?
Could you not put more pressure then? If your contract says that the EU should be getting the vaccines that it ordered now, can't you put more pressure on them?
You're right. You're right. That is what we as European People's Party are asking for. So first of all, we have positive companies, for example, positive partners with BioNTech and Pfizer. They are doing their best and they are reliable. But AstraZeneca is really a big problem for us in the cooperation. And in these negative relationships, in these negative experiences we had in the past, we have to say that the export ban must be on the table. So we want to have open borders, but if the rest of the world is not doing so, we as Europeans shouldn't be naive. And the second point is that Europe is spending a lot of money for research. And those companies who are not cooperating with us must also consider that they are not anymore part of this big research union of the European Union. So we have options and opportunities to create pressure on the companies. I don't want to do so. Breton don't want to do so. We are ready for a serious compromise, but we need companies who are ready for doing so.
You talked about open borders. The EU-wide vaccine passport, can that be the solution to restart travel and tourism?
Well, first of all, it's a guarantee that we can bring back the rights to the citizens. Freedom of movement is a fundamental right for all Europeans. And that is what we have to bring back. And that's why this vaccination passport is crucial and is immediately necessary. I have no understanding why in the European Council conclusions there is only the formulation of we try to work on this. So a very weak formulation. We have to speed up because currently 10,000 of Europeans are every day vaccinated, and it will be a bureaucratic nightmare to give them a passport after they are vaccinated. So give them directly a passport, and that must be a European-wide one.
Manfred Weber, leader of the Conservative European People's Party grouping in the European Parliament. Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you so much.